Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's tech tip. Today we're going to make it a short one, and we're going to take a look at the project materials scheme tool. This tool is used to assign colors to panel members either by using the family type properties, so the family types, or we can assign the color using the thickness of the material, the gauge of the material. So I'll demonstrate both options, and then we'll go through some common issues you may face when trying to place colors by thickness, for example. So we have two options. To find the project materials scheme tool, we go to our settings, and within our single layer settings or our single option settings, you can see we have the project materials scheme option, which is the sixth one down. If I click on this option, you'll see that we have active scheme at the very top of this dialog box, and we have two options as mentioned before. So we've got type name material scheme, which will use the family type name, so any different types that we have in the model based on the different sizes or characteristics, we can use those to assign a color based on all the different type variations. We also have the thickness range, which will assign the color based on the thickness of the gauge of each material. So for our first option, you can see I've already predefined some settings here, and we have varying types based on the size of our members and also some properties that will distinguish each one. So we've got the colors assigned already, and all I'm going to do is simply activate the material scheme by checking on this option here, and this will allow me to apply the color when I create a new panel, or if I regenerate a panel, it will assign the color once I regenerate the panel. So for any existing panels that don't have a color applied, simply have to regenerate, and that will assign the color to the panel. We can also import and export these settings as well, so we can move them from one project to the next if we need to do that. And we've got the export option here and the import option just next to that there. For any additional settings we want to add to the list, we can click on this plus icon, and that will just add a new row of data to the bottom of the list, as you can see here. And for anything that we don't need in the list, we can simply remove it using the remove option. If you want to delete the whole scheme, then you can click on this bin or trash can, and this will remove all the options that are currently available, and it will just clear it all out for you to start fresh. For now, I'm going to click OK, and to apply the color scheme, as these are existing panels, I will need to select them first of all, go to MWF and regenerate. Okay, so once complete, you can see we have a variation of colors applied to these panels based on the different family types we have available. Okay, so the second option that we have available to apply colors to our panels is the color by thickness option within the project material scheme. Before I jump onto that, I'll just mention the fact that when we apply the colors using the project material scheme, this does affect all of our views. So if I was to go into a plan view, and if I change the transparency of the walls, you'll see that we have our colors showing through. And these colors are applied to every view, and you'll be able to see those across your project in all views. You can also see these colors applied in your shop drawings as well, if you have applied colors using the project material scheme. So those will also show up on shop drawings for you if you need those. Okay, so back to the second option that I mentioned, applying the project material scheme using the thickness of the gauge of the material. So I'm going to go to settings, and I'll go to project material scheme. And this time for our active scheme, I want to change this to thickness range. So I have a few options available here based on the thickness range, and what you can see is we have some colors assigned to them as well. So when we're applying the colors based on our thickness range, then what we need to do is make sure that our colors are assigned to each variation, and that we have the range specified on the right hand side here. Okay, so if I go into edit, you'll see you have a range, a minimum range from 0.037 to 0.040. So each one has its own unique range to allow us to apply the colors based on a starting range and a finish range. And if it falls in between that range, you will get the color assigned to that particular option. So just like before, all I need to do is click OK. We do have a few options on how we want to color these. We can place just a single color, and we can also assign a pattern if you want to assign a pattern. So we have any patterns available in our Revit project. We can use those and apply those to our members. This is more useful when we're using the same color over and over again, and maybe we need to differentiate one member from another one, even though it's using the same color. We can assign a pattern to it, a surface pattern, to identify each one uniquely. All right, so I'll click OK. And what I need to do now is, just like before, regenerate. Okay. And this will allow me to place the schemes. Okay, so you can see this panel is colored purple and this one is colored like a green color or a teal color, I guess. One of the common issues that you may face when assigning your colors using the thickness range is you may not notice the colors applied to your panels. This issue may occur when your units are not set to a high level of precision. So for example, if I go into my units, go to length, we're currently looking at 3 decimal places, and it's going to give us values up to 3 decimal places. If this is set to maybe 1 decimal place, click OK, then what you might find is that the range showed or shown within your project material scheme isn't as wide as you'd expect. So you can see 0.0 for our next option. Again, it says 0.0. And again, it's just showing us smaller values, like 0.1 in this case. And this will affect how the color is applied. So you might not notice that the color isn't actually applied to your panels because the range isn't wide enough in this case. It is seeing 0.0 and there's no difference between each option. So I'll go to regenerate the panels. And you'll notice this time there are no colors applied because, like I said before, it doesn't find a difference between the ranges because the level of precision isn't high enough. So by increasing the level of precision, we can get around that issue. So I'm going to set it to 3 decimal places. You can go higher if you need to using the custom option and then add as many decimal places as you need in that case. Okay. So click OK. And again, select the panels, go to my project material scheme, and just double check these again. So you can see we've got a high level of precision there. Okay, so I might need to set some of these values, but you can see we've got 0.04, 0.05, and just for this one, I'll place this one as 0.035, and I'll say 0.0375 for that one. Okay, and for the next one, I could make this one 0.039, and I could make this one 0.04. Okay, so once I click OK and regenerate these panels, we should see the color scheme apply based on the different ranges applied to each one. Okay. That will usually cover the issues that you may face when you're placing colors on your panels based on the thickness range. Make sure your units are set to a higher level of precision. Make sure the ranges are specified to a decent range as well, based on the thickness value inside of the member. So if I click on one of these members, go to edit type, the value is being taken from our TF value here. So we need to make sure that it is a range that is, well, that this will fall in between for the color to be assigned correctly. Okay. To ensure that the colors are applied to our panels correctly, it's important that we also check within the family. So if I click on one of the members, go to Edit Family, we need to make sure that the material under Materials and Finishes is pointing towards the structural material parameter. Okay, so we have a structural material parameter. Just make sure it is assigned to that parameter and that it's not set to none and pointing towards a specific material. By pointing it towards a structural material, that will ensure that the correct material is assigned to the member. Okay, and that will be the structural material that is shown under Material and Finishes here. Okay, so as before, this can be assigned to your shop drawings, and you can use this across the project. Very useful tool, just to improve how we can visually identify members in a model. So that's the end of the tech tip. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.